Part four, this shit's getting ridiculous. So boom, gone up to Corby, looked at the bike for 10 minutes, gone piss, told the guy I'll be back tomorrow to pick up this motorbike. Boom. So these times I still had the R125. I called out one of my older cousins, man got bare family, called out one of my older cousins from, I don't know, he's from Walthamstow, I think he lives in Leighton. He's picked up a big van and picked me up from my mum's yard and taken me down to Corby to get this motorbike. Because obviously I can't ride a big motorbike. I'm not legal to. Now, could I have got back on it? Yeah. But I had no experience riding a 600 and that. You don't want to be the first time you're riding a 600 motorbike to be getting on the fucking motorway. Now, that is not sensible and that. So anyway, boom. My older cousins picked me up, took me down to Corby and that. We literally was there for 10 minutes. Picked up the motorbike and that. Now the problem is my cousin's big van, he had like what they call a Luton van, I think. There was no fucking tail lift. Luckily, the guy's yard that we went to, this Eastern European guy's house that we went to, he had a fucking like a ramp. So we was able to push the bike up onto the ramp and put the bike in the back of the van and strap it using like bungee cords and straps and that to secure the bike. But then I'm thinking, right, when we get back to Edmonton, there's no ramp, there's no lift, and there's no ramp. I don't have no ramp. So how the hell are we going to get this bike off? It's just two of us, innit? So boom. I thought, right, I'm going to need to get two of my strong brethren. So I called up my brethren Reese, called up my brethren Tyrone, and I said, yo, you two, yeah? My brethren Reese was living in Tottenham, my brethren Tyrone lives on my estate and that. You two meet me at my yard, yeah, at this time roughly, yeah. I need you lot to help me, because them man there gym and them man there strong in it. So you man to help me lift this bike off the back of this van, off the back of this truck. So anyway, they were there waiting for me, and then boom, we got the bike off now, innit? Yeah, so boom, man secured the bike now. Now I've got two motorbikes. I've got a R6 and I've got a R125. These times it's like September. I put the R6 in the back garden and I never rode the bike. I said to myself, right, I'm going to be strict to myself. I'm not going to ride the bike once. I'm going to leave the bike in the back garden and I'm going to wait until I get my license. And then I'm going to take the bike out officially, like when I'm legit to ride it. What happened? About 2 weeks later, obviously this time I had the vending machine business in Notting Hill. I got a call that there's a problem with the vending machine. They think the vending machine is smoking or it's making like there's like a burning smell. So I've gone down there, checked it out, false alarm. On the way back, I'm riding down Bayswater Road on my R125. The R6 in the back garden. I'm riding down Bayswater Road and there's no traffic in front of me. The road is clear, but there's a lot of traffic going that way, like standstill traffic. I'm riding down the road. The road is wet because it just rained and that. Some guy decides to do a 3-point turn in the road. I've seen him skidded, hit the brake and that, boom, come off the bike, rolled into the car, bam. They thought I was dead for half a second before I got up and that. Anyway, rolled off the bike. Ended up getting paid out for the bike and injuries, quote unquote, and that. I remember that was a sticky one though. Like, obviously, man's rolled off the bike and that, and obviously, man's bleeding, that man's cut. The police will come, whatever, they clock like, okay, he's alright or whatever. But obviously, man's got cuts and grazes and scratches and that, and he's bleeding and that. Man's gone to a local hotel and that and asked him for like a first aid kit. They said they ain't got no first aid kit. I was like, well, look, man's bleeding, yeah? Give me some, you've got any alcohol? The guy gave me vodka. I was dabbing the vodka in fucking tissue and wiping it, like cleaning off this cut that was bleeding. Because, apparently you can use vodka, alcohol to clean your wounds and that. Because all like, I ain't gonna show you, but like antibacterial's got alcohol in it. So I decided to use that to clean off the wounds and that. Got the bike taken away and that. And then eventually the insurance company paid me out for the bike. So these times, man's legitimately bikeless. I have no motorbike, so this time I had to take bus to work and them things there when I was an apprentice and that. What happened next? September, October and that, man has no motorbike. I've got the R6 in the back garden, but I'm not legit to ride it. I have no R125. So I booked my bike test and I booked it for the 5th of December, and that was the best day of my life, and I explain why. So with the motorbike test, like I said, I waited until I was 24 years old so I can do the full motorbike license and then ride the R6 rather than doing when I'm 23, having to wait 2 years, then do the direct access. I ain't got time for that bullshit. Man don't do half licenses. Man don't do this automatic car driving license, yeah? Man do the manual, yeah? Do the full thing, yeah? So boom. So in December, so I booked my motorbike test for December. But if the motorbike test is on the 5th of December, 3 days before that, 2 days before that, you have to do training because they have to teach you how to ride a 600 motorbike. So man's doing the training and that, and yeah, man was obviously getting the hang of it. Obviously, man's a natural on a motorbike, innit? So boom. With my car test, hold on, did I have a car at these times? Yeah, sorry, I did have a car. Yeah. So I wasn't taking the bus into work. I did have a car. What am I talking about? Anyway, with my car test, I passed my car test first time. With my motorbike test, obviously, man's doing the training and that, and gone down to the Enfield Motorbike Test Centre. So the Enfield Motorbike Test Centre, they do car driving tests there, and they do motorbike driving tests there, innit? So boom. The motorbike test is split into 3 parts. A theory test, which I already did. You have to do the theory test before you can do the motorbike training. I've done that. Then there's the indoor riding test where you ride around cones, avoid an object in the road, emergency stop, all that stuff. So when you're doing that, which is the first part of your test, the other motorbike riders that are taking their test, you're all inside like this building, yeah? And everyone can see you doing your part 1. And some people are like, yeah, he failed, because when you're doing a U-turn, if you put your foot down, you fail. They don't give you no second chances and that. So a certain man were failing in that. So obviously that just adds natural pressure to the situation, innit? So boom. So anyway, man's done my part 1 and that. Passed it first time, no problem, cool. I think it was like the next day I had to do my part 2, which is the practical riding out on the streets. With the car test, your car test is 45 minutes long, driving out on the street. With the motorbike test, part 1, you do 15 minutes in this in this gated off little area where you're doing obviously the maneuvers and that, and then 30 minutes on the road the next day or the same day, whatever, innit? Boom. So the next day, man's gone out now, innit, on the motorbike and that, and obviously you don't have a man sitting next to you because it's not a car, it's a motorbike. So you got earphones in and you can hear what the guy's saying. I don't know if you can talk back to him, but I know you can hear what he's saying. So a man will be following you on a motorbike whilst you're doing your motorbike test. So you're on a motorbike riding, the guy's behind you on a motorbike telling you what to do. Pull over, stop, do a 3-point turn, do an emergency stop potentially. Can't remember about the emergency stop. If they don't have any motorbikes to follow you, they will be in a car following you because they're still giving you commands. It doesn't matter if they're in a bike behind you or whatever. So man's riding around Enfield and that, and I could have made a vital mistake. I think I was on a road that I thought was a 20, but it was a 30 road. And obviously you can get minors for driving too slow. But if you're driving too slow and someone overtakes you, that's a major. But fortunately, no one was driving down this road. No one overtook me. So I got lucky. He told me to pull over and that. And I think I got a minor for the way I pulled over or something like that. Cool. But anyway, man's passed the test first time. Now, the reason why that day is the best day of my life is because prior to that, man's come up to Northampton and viewed a bunch of properties and put in an offer on this property. But the vendor, the person who's selling this property, when the offer was put to him, he weren't responding for like 2 weeks. So I thought, man's not going to get this property and that. Man's starting to look elsewhere and now I'm thinking, I've got to come up to Northampton again, look for properties and that. Kept on contacting the estate agent. The estate agent saying, we ain't heard from him. This is very unusual. We don't know what's going on. I'm telling the estate agent, look, you lot got another property and that. I want to go and look at that property. He's like, nah, just be patient. Innit? Let's try and get this property sold to you first and then we'll look at others. I think it's because the guy wanted me to buy that property because he was selling it rather than another property that one of his work colleagues was selling, innit? So boom, 2 weeks has gone, ain't heard nothing from this vendor and that. So on the 5th of December, which was a Friday, I believe, or it might have been the 2nd of December, but it definitely was the first Friday of December of 2016. I passed my motorbike test. Obviously, I was very happy and that. Right, there is going to be a part 5, fucking hell.